Going twice, sold. You're listening to The Property Pod.
All right, guys, welcome to the Property Pod, your accessible and easy way into the property market. And I can add a new thing to the start of our intro because it is an award-winning podcast now. Oh, that's the most restrained I've ever been at the. I've thought I'm going to give him a laugh here.
Whoa!
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it's come from Pat.
Yeah, there you went. Bam.
Pat's excited.
I was actually expecting more, John.
That's right. I thought I'd tame it. We'll do the
Yeah.
exact reverse of what you guys were thinking.
Yeah.
Now we've got you out of the can, Pat.
That's right, guys. We won an award for the podcast, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, this is kind of fun to be just a little bit self-indulgent, at least just for half an episode or something like that.
Well, look, it doesn't involve just us. It involves all the listeners, everybody out there that has
Talking to you, Nan.
Yeah, that's
talking
right.
to Nan, talking to Paige from Bendigo. We're talking to Megan. We're talking to all those people out there that have written in and been part of the show. We won a 2020 Award for Excellence presented by the REIT, so the Real Estate Institute of Tasmania.
Yeah, well, that because it's the innovation in this sense, isn't it, as well?
Yeah, so it's Innovation Award, so new ideas to the market.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually, in my own way, really proud of this. I'm actually really proud of it because, in fact, I mean, I got to do it with you guys from the genesis of an idea that started ages ago.
Yeah.
But also too, then it's sort of just nothing but it's just service. There's not really any real measurable gain, I suppose you could say. It's just really fun to put together. But in this though, like I can absolutely measure what I've learnt from all the guests and stuff we've had on.
Oh, yeah, and that's the crazy part of, like, I would hang my hat on the fact that I knew nothing about real estate, and I was like, yep, I'm just the guy that takes the photos, I pass them along the line to the crew, and we go from there, and they sell the houses, I just take the photos and try and make them look good. But now people are actually coming to me and asking, like, do you think this is a good idea? And I was like, well, I can't actually give you any professional advice, but
However,
Aaron, you'll be a keynote speaker when conferences start back up, mate.
well, I remember actually, because we won the award, I was like, I wonder, like, I'll just look through back the list. Remember at Inman when you went the first time? I was like, all right, the goal is next year we're going to get on stage.
Yep.
They took the stage away. There was no stage. We couldn't go because of COVID.
We won a stage here instead.
Yeah, so...
we made our own stage.
yeah, hell yeah. No, bloody good on us. And bloody good on everybody out there listening that has come along for the ride. And
And to our guests. Thanks to all our guests over the last 2 years.
yeah.
Yeah.
And it's amazing to think, like, we had no idea about interviewing people. And if you do go back and listen to some of the earlier ones where we sound like these little children trying to be like,
Yeah.
do you think that you should sell your house?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now we're just cruising. We've had Zoom interviews. We've had people come in. We've had Pat went up to people in Las Vegas and asked them questions himself with his own little boom mic.
Yeah, that was actually really fun. I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah,
Well,
you interviewed Elvis.
When I was driving.
Interviewed Elvis, interviewed ex-staff of Marvel. Where have we not
I
been?
forgot about that one.
Yeah.
Well, that was when I was driving this morning. I was actually just remembering you in Inman, and I just thought, and I was in my mind, I was thinking, we'll have to get that mobile kit out again. I'm sure we'll be able to find some use for it.
Well, the thing is, we've got it and we should use it. Like, there's times that we probably need to just like grow from where we've come because we've kind of. Actually, you guys were only saying remember the most exciting part of the podcast was that we got a article in the Mercury. Our boy Jay Bevan got us in the Mercury.
Yeah.
And we're like, hopefully we get to 13 episodes, and we got past that. But now we've got to the point where Pat's like, look at that ugly setup that we've got. Like, now we've got a beautiful studio. Like,
And Jared's still using the old bloody photos.
I know. We need to get Jared back out. You guys can talk shoes, and all we want is a nice new
A new
fresh
photo.
shot.
Yeah, like Jared's going to put up an article today on realestate.com and the Mercury's website, and he's got our old studio photos. And I'm like, man, we got this beautiful space now.
And I'm pretty sure I can't wear that jacket anymore because it's ruined.
Oh, I thought that you were going to be like, COVID's been a hard year.
It has. But that, like you said, I mean, where it's been, it's nice to actually feel settled, and also too when we've had the last, couple of guests on, it felt like they've been able to just get stuck into it a lot better because we're relaxed as well.
Yeah,
whereas
yeah.
before, like very early days when we had, Leggett and that, where it's just like we're all nervous, he's nervous, and it's just, but seemed to still pull through. But then for me, then I still like the, where like the next steps are, where we can start to utilize a lot of these episodes to start putting them into almost like a 10-step quick, fast track guide to learning everything you need to know and all that kind of stuff. So that'll be good to, use those old resources, and when we create new ones and start to, be able to have a path for people to go, right, I want to learn all this, and boom, listen to these 5 episodes.
Listen to episode 7, episode 13,
bang, bang.
episode 21, and you'll get a really good idea of this, and this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so collating all that information together into a hub or a place where you can access all that and get a really good idea. And then there's also the possibility of updating all that stuff. Like our very first episode was the federal election. Why did we
tackle
start?
that?
Like, hey, we're brand new at this. Like, let's talk about the federal election.
What would we know about that?
I don't know.
Well, go back and listen.
That's very ambitious, wasn't it? That's really ambitious.
I think very ambitious. But look, it's paid off. We're 58
I have to
episodes
ask,
in.
was it a swing and a miss?
Well, so the listening back to it, it's kind of about how both sides of the coin were promising the same thing, and it was very promising for housing and very promising for real estate. So it wasn't just kind of like, I wonder if we can be a John Oliver and talk politics and be
that makes
funny
sense.
about it.
Yeah.
It was, this Labor's promising this, and the Liberal Party are going to match it, and
that's true. Yeah, we could sort of some relate to our personal experiences. Yeah.
And it was right in the pocket, but it would also kind of just be like just stepping up to the big leagues and being like, no, we got this, like episode 1.
Yeah, no, if we're going to swing, we might as well swing for the bleachers.
Hells yeah, which I think we've done. And look, it's amazing that we've been acknowledged for it. And shout out to the REIT and for all the winners. They're actually looking through Jared's article. You were at the event, Pat?
I was at the event, yes.
So it was a much smaller event because we went along last year to the one that was at the Grand Chancellor, and obviously this year with COVID being on the cards, everything changed. It was just kind of like principals and directors and stuff of the companies that were invited along this year.
Yeah, it wasn't so much directors and owners of businesses. It was more just individuals that had entered different categories.
Yep.
Obviously, that equals a lot of directors because most of them are the ones that write these awards. For
sure.
Yeah.
It was open for anyone to attend, but you did have to enter a category to be able to attend this year. And so it made it a different experience. Like last year, it was a gala dinner with, 300, 400 people.
Yep.
This year it was, I think, 85 or 75 people in a room having a couple of drinks and just making sure you're sitting, not standing while drinking too, because that's not
No
allowed
vertical
anymore.
consumption.
And it was actually really good, laid back, really enjoyable. It was fun.
Yeah.
I think, like when you said with, award nights, they can get a bit pomp and circumstance for the longest time, because as much as we'd like to think that we want to celebrate everyone, you just sort of want to get to yours and go, oh, did I win? So sort of that punch out where you could imagine 80% of the crowd's really not interested in the event at all. They just want to be able to, right, can I go? And then, but once that was done, then a lot of people, would inevitably leave, especially depending upon how long the drinks tab runs for, more so. But
That's the only reason. Isn't there an episode of Rosehaven?
I'm pretty sure they did.
Woo!
But it's I think I like the way you described, Pat, where they got into it, got stuck into it early, and then everyone just got back to being able to enjoy each other's company. So that's sort of a thought then, where it's frustrating that we're still in the throes of all these effects of everything. But in some ways, if in order to having to be forced to reimagine the ways that we thought we'd either do, we'd celebrate anything or we'd have to navigate through something. It's so you can just at least pivot and think, oh, maybe we don't have to do it that old way anymore. Like it is a little bit outdated. We can enjoy it in a different way.
Well, coming from the winners of the Innovation Award, I guess innovation is key moving forward from 2020 to 2021 and beyond, because I think as we've all worked out now, the world will never go back to what it was. There'll always be this hovering over everything. So kind of innovation is key moving forward, and it'd be really cool if, we could aim for the 2021 award, but grow it from just not the podcast, but from, just the whole 414 experience and kind of see where 2021 and beyond can take all of us. I guess it's funny because last year we entered the award, or we put a submission in to try and win early days of the podcast. But, we were two companies. It was kind of this Frankenstein idea of kind of like, how do we even make sense of this? There's two different groups kind of trying to all achieve the same goal.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what...
I think that was the big difference. I know where you're going, Aaron, is that now that we are one, it's a lot more straightforward. And
it's clean. It's it's
The vision of what this podcast can be now is a lot easier as well. So now we can really start to amp it up and embed it further into websites and do bits and pieces with it.
And well, I think there's a lot more. There's a lot more meaning to it now as well because we kept going. You know, it wasn't just get the award, stop. You know,
Yeah,
it's like we
well-
just kept doing it, and then the opportunity came around again. Let's try again.
And there's been bumps in the road where it kind of looked like, we're running out of steam, we're running out of ideas, how we're going to continue this on.
Yeah.
And then when one of us will kind of fall off the wagon, the other two will pick up those team and just be like, oh, look, Az can't do it at the moment, so I'm going to step up in the next few weeks. John's in charge and he's taken the reins.
Yeah,
There's been
exactly.
times where Pat's been sending through Inman things that he's been watching at 3 a.m. because he's
Idiot.
He's an idiot. Yep. He's like, we're going to talk about this week. And we're like, mate, are you still awake? Like,
Yep.
Yes, I am.
No time for sleep.
And I think also then building off ideas from friends that we've bumped into and clients and listeners as well, and that's always a really fun part. Like actually just being out, look, okay, this is what you want to find out. Fine, we'll go do it.
Yeah.
And there it is. And that's a really rewarding part of the process too, I find.
no, it's all going really well. It's kind of skyrocketing from here. And look, I know we're being, self-indulgent, as we said, but shout out to all the winners of the 2020 awards for the REIT. What we might do is post in the show notes all the winners of that, and congratulations to everybody that submitted, because if you've got to be in it to win it, and good on everybody that's had a crack,
Yeah,
and good on everybody that then has come out trumps and on top.
Yeah, and fundamentally for everyone that continues to listen, it does actually really mean a lot when people say stuff. Getting a genuine compliment and being able to see that what we're actually doing does make a difference. It's even though it's very enjoyable to do, it actually really does mean a lot when you get that feedback too.
It's crazy that when we have those breathers or the times where we think we're going to kind of put a pause on things, you'll get the emails or you'll get the correspondence and be like, oh, there are genuine people all across the country that are involved in this and come along for the ride with us. And it's quite humbling to think that even if I know we said at the start, if only one person kind of listens, we're doing our job.
Yeah.
And we're definitely.
And Aaron's nan keeps listening every week, so we're going to keep making it.
When I actually spoke to her about, remember I was saying they looked for the house in Zeehan when they went on their tour to Tassie. So where she grew up, I was wrong. It wasn't Zeehan, it was Queenstown that she spent the time in. But she was standing outside this one place and this lady come and was just like, are you right there? And it turned out it was not the owner of the house at the moment, but it was someone that had lived in the house years ago. And she'd mentioned this surname that was related to Nan somehow. So just this random person walking along the street, noticing this old lady looking at a house.
Yeah.
They got struck up in this conversation, and she did find out that it wasn't the house that she thought it was. But so essentially,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So she still kind of found out some information. And then when they were coming back through Derwent Bridge, they ran into this other group and they were doing essentially the exact same trip but in reverse. So they were like, oh, yeah, our grandparents grew up in this place, so we're going to see if we can find it. So I guess there's a lot of people out there at the moment where you can't get overseas, so why not
Jump in the car.
and look at your own backyard and try and work out where your heritage is from. just
Yeah,
locally.
definitely. And I think that's rather than looking outwards, looking inwards. So then, looking locally.
Yeah.
And it was the same too. I mean, I've been starting to compile all this big list of like, oh, this is something I'd like to do. Oh, this is something I'd like to do. This is something I'd like to do. This is something I'd like to do. So, you could go the next 6 months without having to travel. And I've still got plenty of activities for Tassie.
So do you have a plan to get it off the list and into action, John?
Yes.
Because you're good at building lists, mate.
Yes. I did go to the gym this morning again.
Oh, he's back,
so
John 3.0.
3.0. Legitimately this
I was
time.
going to say, you were looking sharp when you stepped in this morning. You didn't have your coat on. I was like, yeah, John's looking trim. He's looking all right.
Yeah, no, 3.0. That's it.
Go, baby, go.
Well, remember, Pat, there was you inspired me once because I've always been grateful to you for it because you'd always expect me to be late to an appointment, and there was once it was like never ever. I did it to you too many times, and there was just a point where it's like I'm never doing that again. And it's like I don't know, but
So what happened with our staff meeting the other day?
well, I was making money. I was making us money.
Sorry, it's just an appointment. You said you're never going to be late.
I was making us money.
Oh, so re-clarifying, never late to a client appointment.
Well, you can't always get it right.
Oh, you just got burnt.
Yeah, but it's not an entire expectation, right? It's a start. It's a start.
I like it, John.
75% of the time, he's on time every time.
Oh, it's funny because it's true.
Well, I'm a fond believer. If you're on time, you're 5 minutes late.
Well, there you go.
And my wife Abby lives for the on time, and that drives me mental. I'm like, let's go, and she times it right down to the minute to leave the door, and I'd rather leave like
You would have been rather
early.
gone.
Go on.
Yeah,
You're like,
definitely.
so she like believes Google Maps when it says you'll be 12 minutes. Like she's like, it will take me 12
And
minutes.
she'll set her she'll have a whole routine to get out the door right down to the minute. So she'll sit in bed and just sit there. Right, time to get up. Got to be going by. I'm like,
But what are we actually doing? Like, we're just here to
go
sit.
paint that wall now.
with the systems that Abby has in place, like that, her time management must just be just mint.
Apart from the one problem she always forgets about is we have 2 kids and they throw spanners in the timeline all the time. Anyway, I can talk about that because my wife never listens to this podcast, so I'm cruising.
Yeah.
Yes, of all the listeners that we do have, Abby comes up a lot and she never has anything to say about all the wonderful things we say about how good she is in property management. She is an absolute star, but she'll never hear any of the compliments that we do dole out to her. So one day she might go back and she'll be like, oh, I wonder if... No, actually, that'll never happen.
No.
It'll be Parker will ask to put the show on in the car, and she'll hear, oh, that's a really nice thing that you just said about it. Oh, how about that?
Yeah. That's depressing when my 7-year-old listen to more episodes than my wife.
He thinks it's cool that his dad's on the radio.
Yeah, anywho.
Yeah, look, we didn't really plan anything today. We kind of were just flying high on the idea of the win. And we just wanted to kind of shout out and thank everybody out there that is a listener and is part of the Property Pod. So as much as the victory is for the 3 of us in the studio, it actually is a victory for
Everyone.
everyone that
part of
listens, everyone that's part of it, everybody
Yeah.
that's joined us along the ride. So, yes, I guess we'll title the episode just Big Thank You or something along those lines.
Yeah.
Or
Big thank you.
self-indulgent thanks.
Hashtag self-indulgent. Like my brother does whenever he gets a sponsored ad on Instagram. It's always like the first thing, like the first 3 lines of hashtags, all the fact that he's getting paid for it.
Well, look, that's the one big fish that we haven't been able to land yet. So.
Yeah, no, he's. We're speaking yesterday, so he's coming on. We'll see
Well,
that.
I think we heard that in episode 27.
I think the mayor was coming on too. Like, you talk a big game, John, but you only ever bring insurance to the table. So it's time to move outside
Insurance
the bubble.
is important, exceptionally important.
And he's never late to things.
Apart from that podcast 2 weeks ago when we sat here for an hour.
And our staff meetings.
Anywho, 75% of the time. Every time.
I'm on time every time.
All right, guys. Thanks for listening to all of the rubbish that we put out into the world. Thank you for listening to this episode where we literally planned nothing and just wanted to thank everybody for being part of the Property Pod.
And if you've got this far into this week's episode, you're our number 1 fan.
Yeah,
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, we really
100%.
appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week with a more planned out program. But yeah, we're just we're flying high, and John's on time.
Till next time.
See ya.
On
See ya.
time.
On time every time. All right, that'll play. Ramblings of idiots.
That'd be us.
You have been listening to The Property Pod, produced and edited by 414 Media House in conjunction with 414 Real Estate and McGregor First National Propriety Limited.
This podcast is general information only, and the thoughts and views expressed is the opinion of our panel, and listeners should always seek and use their own investigation into any topic we discuss to ensure they fully understand their own situation.
It does not constitute, should not be relied on as purchasing, selling, financial or investment advice or recommendations, express or implied, and it should not be used as an invitation to take up any agent or investment services. No investment decision or activity should be undertaken on the basis of this information.